surreal. It looks unlike any ship I've ever seen.
This is the world's largest cruise ship. A ship that is 5 times bigger than the Titanic. And for the first time ever, this massive ship is making its official debut as it sails for weeks across the Caribbean. Wow, would you look at that?
It's surreal. It looks unlike any ship I've ever seen.
How can this entire $1.5 billion city float on the sea with thousands of people on board and function for weeks using its own electricity?
Am I the only one who finds this terrifying? Man, this is like floating anxiety to me.
How much money do you think you need to get a chance to be there?
I can't believe it's here. We've been waiting for this ship for years now.
And more importantly, because of its huge size, will this be just a huge nightmare waiting to crash?
Oh my god! Oh my god!
This is the icon of the seas, now being called the ultimate family vacation, but also being criticized for its excessive luxury. Because at first look, you will already notice it's one huge floating theme park. It has the world's largest water park at sea, with 7 pools, 6 water slides, and 9 whirlpools. A 55-foot indoor waterfall, the tallest waterfall at sea. Few theaters and casino, and over 40 dining and drinking spots. It's like they manufacture a fan on steroids, while making sure it can accommodate up to 7,600 passengers at once, supposedly without making you feel like it's overcrowded.
It's quite impressive, the size of this ship and how technically advanced it is.
There's even a green space called the Central Park, which, like the one in New York City, is filled with live plants if you want to breathe a little from all this fancy busyness. But guys, I wonder so far, are you itching to experience this, or perhaps does it feel to you like all of this is just too much?
Icon of the seas is 5 times the Titanic's size.
Because for you to just realize how big of a deal this world record is, Icon of the Seas would be like putting New York's Chrysler building on its side and then making it float on the ocean. Except this ship would still be 46 meters longer. It's literally a skyscraper on the sea. The floating city is equivalent to the length of 3.3 football fields, or about 35 buses long. And it weighs a whopping 250,800 tons. That is insane!
As the Icon of the Seas cruise ship sails into South Florida.
And do you see that sphere in the front? That is called the Aquadome. Made with nearly 700 glass panels, it's the largest of its kind on any cruise. And apparently, this modern engineering wonder was first drafted on a piece of napkin. Quite an insane start, given the risks involved in this design. Because the higher a heavy piece like this sits on a ship, the more it affects its center of gravity and stability. That's why this Aquadome, which stands at 82 feet, even needed a special rig and about 500 meters of suspension cables just to install it onto the ship with incredible precision. And get this, just being able to place it accurately there took a total of 12 hours of work. In fact, this entire ship was built almost like Legos, piece by piece, block by block, starting from different locations and then assembling the parts later. All of that exhaustive, precise craft work, using a total of 1.5 million manpower hours, happened for 9 months. And all that hard work so you can finally see the wonders inside.
It smells new. It does smell brand new.
Like the pearl, which you will see as soon as you walk into this ship. A structure that's taller than the Hollywood sign in California. The pearl was made with panoramic glass and supports 3 decks at the same time. It also serves as a way to let the sunlight in. while being an attraction by itself. The world's largest kinetic art sculpture with 3,600 kinetic tiles. It really looks like it breathes. But let's not forget that this is a hotel. So when you proceed to your room, you will learn that everything is controlled by an app. Yes, this ship is almost a city by itself. It needs a mobile app for people to navigate it.
You turn it on, this is your own control for your television. Pretty cool.
And as you go outside your room, you or your family won't get bored at all, because every corner of this ship was planned to satisfy every age group possible. From the water park and playgrounds for kids,
Here is Surfside.
to the adventure spaces, concerts and bars for adults,
At 12, we went to the balloon party where they dropped 10,000 balloons. It was pretty fun.
to the hideaways for older people searching for a quiet space.
I think this is much brighter, much airier, and it just looks really nice.
I know, everything sounds quite perfect so far, you might say. So why all the criticism?
The largest floating daycare has arrived. Biggest and ugliest cruise ship ever created.
Well, the icon of the seas prides itself in being environmentally responsible. And some of its innovations do sound impressive at first. Like how they will reuse the heat produced by the power plant to produce fresh water on board. How they have another plant which turns dry food and waste into energy, and how they have a system where lifts going up can harness the electricity generated by those going down. But if you look more closely, it's still a bit hard to know if this is worth celebrating. Because on one end, they are proud of the fact that this massive ship is powered by liquefied natural gas, or LNG, a fuel that's recently being marketed as the greener option. But actually, many environmentalists say LNG is worse, since its main component, methane, is 80 times more potent than CO2 as a greenhouse gas over a 20-year time frame. And that, in fact, methane is already causing over 30% of global warming.
The major takeaway from this study is that LNG is not only not a long-term solution for decarbonizing the marine sector, but it's not even a short-term solution either.
So now hearing all of this, I wonder, would you still pay to experience this? Considering that a week-long cruise in an average room costs about $3,500 for 2 people. And for the ultra-rich, a luxurious 3-story suite can go up to $100,000 per trip. With those prices, it really should have been named Entitlement of the Seas. Well, I have an answer for you, because it turns out, even with these high prices, the icon of the seas is fully booked until 2026. And for those scared about a tragedy similar to Titanic, do not worry, because the risk of this leading to a Titanic-like tragedy is actually very rare, since unlike in the movie, we now have more advanced radar technology and satellite monitoring.
We've learned after 120 or 140 years since then how to avoid some of those same shortfalls that Titanic fell victim to.
But again, let me ask you, Nightfam, would you still want to experience this? Or do you think it's just another waste of money and resources purely for the enjoyment of the rich?